Hi, and welcome to the Kim Sunshine Show. I am here with a local superstar, Eddie Santos. He owns Santos Group, and you guys do insurance. So tell me a little bit about the insurance that you guys are doing. What types of insurance do you do?
So we basically handle every form of insurance. So if it's insurable or if you have insurable interest, we can insure it. So anything from commercial, business to personal lines, life, any facet, builder's risk, you name it, we can insure it.
That is so cool. So what is the craziest thing? So there's boats and there's houses and airplanes. What's the craziest thing that someone has asked you to insure?
A signed baseball by Babe Ruth, which I haven't even told my son about this yet, but it's not a very big market. It's very simple. Just keep it locked away and keep it in the case. You'll be good. But the sun could damage the ball. But it's the guy's got a lot of money, so it was more of a waste, and finding underwriters wasn't really the best thing for him. Not worth it. So
were you able to find one? Oh no, he didn't.
We tried to, but it wasn't worth it.
It wasn't worth it. Okay. So what's a ball like that worth?
About depends on the condition. Be anywhere from $40,000 to $150,000.
Wow, nice. Did you get a picture?
I do actually. I do have a picture.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, awesome. So now, what was something else that was crazy that someone tried to insure?
Oh, geez. I've seen so much. I mean, you name it. I mean, people come to me insuring the craziest things all the time. I had a guy coming in for a hovercraft, which is actually very interesting, which you can do. What else? A BMW SL65 AMG that's been completely done as a battery operated car.
Oh, wow.
That AMG supercharged engine in there, which is very weird. You don't normally do that, but a Tesla motor in there.
Wow. So an individual person had a mechanic change their engine from a gas engine to an electric engine.
Yep. I've had guys that have golf carts with R1 engines for motorcycles in there, which is very unique, very different as well.
So do they go fast like a motorcycle on a golf cart? Could you imagine?
Yeah. It's a little crazy, a little offensively crazy, but yeah, you can say that.
Okay, so I guess they were doing high on injuries that they were causing on that.
But the unique stuff you pay to play.
You pay to play.
So if it's extreme, they want the valuation, they want the risk, they want the liability, and if it makes sense, we can always find something.
Awesome. Well, it's interesting that we're here in Florida because we're not like the rest of the country. Like the rest of the country, like we get everybody who's won at life comes to Florida, and now they have all their toys, and that's why you get to see all the cool things that everybody's insuring. You should like take pictures of that and create a little blog. I think it would be fun and give some other people some ideas of, yes, I can put a motorcycle like motor in my golf cart and make it more fun.
Oh yeah.
So what, like how fast does a golf cart go now? Like, don't they go up to like 30, 40?
I would say no. If you go with a gas powered one, I mean, they usually have a governor, but you're probably looking at like 15, 20 miles an hour.
Really?
It felt
a lot faster when I was driving.
Well, if you have one that's not like in the golf cart when you buy personally, you probably go 30.
30? Okay. And then with the motorcycle engine, how fast would it? No. Oh my gosh.
Plus.
I'm nervous. I'm nervous just thinking about it.
80 plus.
Oh, wow.
Easily.
Okay.
You change rip gears, all that stuff on there. It's very, like I said, it's very different. But it can be done.
So what would you say to someone who was thinking about going into insurance or getting their license to sell insurance? What would you say for them?
Understand your product.
Okay.
Know your product, know what you're selling, because there's a lot of liability on the broker or the agent themselves. Because if you're, for example, had a client come in for a builder's risk policy, guys buying a home, but he's doing modifications. You can't just go for an HO3 policy, which is a homeowner policy.
Right.
You have to go builder's risk. You're building out this thing.
Sure.
So if there's an issue, a fire, and they know you're renovating it, and it's not the right form of paper, it's not going to be covered. They're going to say, well, you have the wrong form. We're not going to cover that risk.
Right.
So it's basically know your product, know the law, and be honest with people.
Yep. And then you have to know the right questions to ask too. I would assume that you have to.
I have everything pre-planned, already mapped out, so I kind of cheat a little bit, but that's just from experience, knowing what to ask.
Exactly.
Because the carriers will ask you specific, terms and questions, and you don't want to come back to the client, 5 times saying, "Hey, I have more questions." You should know by now where you're going to be asking.
Right, exactly. So one of the things that a lot of homeowners are running into recently is this whole roof issue. So do we see an end to that coming, or what do we see? What do you speculate may happen with that?
There's been a tremendous amount of fraud in Florida in general. So basically, every roofer there's good ones out there, but majority of the roofers will go out there and say, look, we're going to get you the best roof your insurance will buy. And what they're going to do is basically go to all the neighborhoods, all the homes, good, bad, good roofs, bad roofs, and say, we're going to get you a brand new roof. And people will be like, okay, why not? If my insurance is paying for it, why not?
Sure.
Then they get declined. Then they get a public adjuster. Then they go out there and get an attorney. And then now a $15,000 roof becomes a $60,000 to $80,000 issue.
Wow, right.
Times that by thousands of people, they're insolvent.
Right.
They're on the hook contractually to pay for that claim. Right. So until people realize that, yes, if you have a risk, that's an issue, good. But if you have a 19-year-old roof, they're not going to want to, pay for that.
It's time to replace it. So do you see changes coming in the way the policies are written?
Yes. So policies now, a lot of them are going to actual cash value valuations versus replacement cost on the roof. So if your roof is 5 years old and it's good for 20 years, they're going to give you a quarter less of what it's worth. So they'll give you 75% replacement value on that roof as actual cash value to diminish the risk that people are doing fraud and not doing the right thing for themselves.
Right.
And also, like I said, out of 27 carriers I had, I think we have maybe 17 carriers left in Florida.
It's crazy. Like there was that one period where we were hearing of another carrier leaving Florida, and it was like every couple of weeks there was another one leaving and another one leaving. So that is over. All the ones that are here should be here for a little while, or?
Yes and no. So what we learned is from Ian and Hurricane Nicole. No, there's a lot of risk. We're in the billions losses from Ian and Nicole.
Sure.
Someone's got to hold the bag. So what they're doing is reinsurance. And the issue being like, say, for example, what these carriers issues are, if you're going to self-insure for, say, the first $10 million in losses, and you're going to buy a reinsurance issue or reinsurance policy to insure you from losses of 10 million up to, say, 100 million.
Okay. That
usually made it cost you like 2, 3 million, 4 million a year for the insurance to cover you for that amount of insurance.
Right.
Now they come back saying, we want 30, 40 million. For the year.
Oh, wow.
Without any losses. So you're net negative 30, 40 million. And if you have 50 million cash in bank, you're bankrupt.
Wow. Wow. So what about FEMA? I thought FEMA was here to help. And
FEMA if you have no insurance.
Oh, FEMA only helps if you have no insurance.
Yes and no. So the key is if you have an insurance policy, you're covered for the most part. Unless you do something stupid or if it's not in the language or if it's excluded in the policy,
right?
It's not going to be covered. If you have no flood insurance, then FEMA will come in and try to help you, but that might take 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years to get that, remediated type of thing. Right. So the rule of thumb is that what we learned from Ian and Nicole is that everywhere in Florida is a flood zone now. Everywhere, possible risk. If you have water coming from the outside in, is a flood issue.
Right.
Your HO3, your homeowners, your rental dwelling will not cover that.
You have to have the additional flood policy. And those are very reasonably priced. I didn't think that was outrageous.
It depends where you are. If you're by the water, it might cost you a couple of grand. If you're in Palm Coast, 2 miles in, 3 miles in, it might cost you $5, $6, $300, $400, $500 a year.
Well, I have a freshwater canal behind my house, and it's a pretty big one. And I think mine was under $1,000, and I thought it was worth it.
So you're probably AE flood zone or probably A flood zone, which will be minimally probably between $800 to $1,500 a year for flood. It depends who you go with. There's also a lot of carriers. You can go private.
Right.
You can go FEMA or an FIP, but I'd rather go private.
So now, are you a broker that deals with a lot of different insurance companies? Or do you deal with one specific?
No, I have every carrier besides State Farm and Farmers.
Okay.
And I've owned the Farmers, so I know the competition quite well. So I know basically at this point, the market for that exact house, what works, the distance, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Hold on a second.
Okay.
Client calling in real quick. But basically, depending on what you're looking for, year built, there's carriers have their sweet spots.
Right.
And now I know basically every sweet spot.
And now you know the sweet spots. So when you see those exact demographics, you know to put them into that carrier.
Yeah, but that comes from experience because if you're brand new, you can have every carrier, but if you don't know how to use it, you're going to spend hours quoting one house. Where now it takes me about 15 minutes to quote the house. And then at that point, very competitive. I was a rater, so it goes through a rating system that gives me the ballparks.
Right.
But some carriers are still closed for business in Flagler County.
That's amazing.
That you won't be able to touch them.
So my question is do you think that the federal government is going to step in and require that risk to be leveraged over the entire country? There's just parts of the country that aren't getting any natural disasters. and the insurance companies are able to pull out of Florida, where we do have a high risk here, and then California, or, has risk of the fires, and then there's earthquakes and tornadoes. But there's some parts that don't really have much risk at all. But do you think that they're going to require, if you're going to insure this place with no risk, you also have to insure the place with a higher risk or anything like that?
No, they'll be state specific. So Florida, DeSantis just dumped about $2 billion into the Florida Surplus Fund, which is Citizens.
Okay.
So now Citizens Insurance is usually known to brokers as the land of last resort. If you can't find a primary carrier, you go to Citizens. You got to show proof you get declined, all that fun stuff. Now, they are actually the largest insurer in Florida now because everyone's going to them.
Okay.
And technically, they're reasonably priced. The problem with Citizens is, I'd say half the brokers out there won't write it because they don't know how to.
Okay, because it's newer.
No, it's not as newer. It's that it's very difficult to write them. There's very specific language. There's very specific protocol. You have to dot all your I's, cross all your T's, and it can take consuming to write one policy with Citizens, but they want to know everything about it. They want to know the pictures, the 4-point, the wind mitigation before you even bind the policy.
Okay.
And some people don't have that time to do it.
Oh, okay.
They just don't know how to. And if you mess up, you get 3 binding violations, you're done.
Oh, wow. And then you can never get that insurance ever again?
Well, you can't write that policy or write those policies for Citizens again. If they say, if you're not, at this point, if you don't know how to do it, they're not going to write it.
So are you writing Citizens policies?
I've read a lot.
Challenge accepted. See, these are my kind of people right here. Eddie Santos, when a challenge is put forth, he stood up and figured it out and learned it. And that's why, we only work with the best companies, and Eddie's one of them. So,
well, the funny part is I just call the carrier and ask.
And ask the questions. Well, some people don't know how to do that.
But if you don't know it, tell the client you don't know, but ask the underwriters and they will tell you how to do it. It's not rocket science.
Right.
We're not doing brain surgery. We're doing things that is complicated, but just ask someone for help. It's not going to hurt.
So when there's a form there, like it's not a fill in the blank thing, you actually have to put each clause in yourself, or,
no.
or generally
so,
90% of it's done.
For example, like Citizens, you have to go in and go very specific line by line what you're insuring, the square footage, which, every homeowner company wants to know specifics.
Sure.
Citizens wants more detail.
Okay.
And the detail can be good or can be bad. But they're going to say, hey, for example, a water heater. If your water heater is 20 years old, good luck getting insurance.
Really?
They want everyone to have a new water heater. It's not a matter of if you're going to have a claim. It's a matter of when. When that water heater blows out, now you have a water claim.
Right.
Now
and
that
the
becomes
water
more
damage is huge, where the cost of a water heater is not much.
Yeah, you get a new water heater, $600 at Home Depot, get installed, $400,000 done.
Yeah.
Simple fact too, for example, if you have a home built before 2003, which is FBC non-compliant, Florida Building Code. All the hurricanes in 2003 made new law changes.
Okay.
So if you have a home built in 2000 and you have that same exact roof, the original roof, very expensive. If you have a home, it's not FBC compliant. If you have a home that's 2000 and now your roof got redone in 2000 or say 2020, it's brand new roof, you get a wind mitigation, shows proof now it's FBC compliant. You have certain attachments that attach the roof to the top of the house, whether it's toenails, clips, diamond connectors, straps, double straps. The better quality, the more of a discount.
The more of a discount. So what is the best quality of something to hold my roof on?
Hurricane straps.
Hurricane straps. Double straps? Because I heard you say double, because I'm thinking double might be better.
Double is better, but same discount.
But it's the same discount. Okay, so now how do you know? Like my roof is only like 7 years old. My house is 2003. So you had me a little alarmed there, but my roof is only 7 years old. So how can I tell? Do I have to climb in the attic to see if it's straps, or I don't even have to worry about it?
No, if you wanted to go out there, get the wind mitt, you actually go and hire an inspector.
A home inspector, yes.
Yep. So they'll go in there, they'll do the 4-point inspection, which some carriers require. So homes that are over 40 years old, before you buy an insurance policy, you have to get the 4-point. The 4-point looks at the roof age, how long the shingles are left to be good for. The water heater, the AC, the electrical panel. Do you have aluminum wiring? Do you have branch wiring? Certain things become no-goes.
Right.
So now, even for Citizens, if you have, for example, branch aluminum wiring, they're not going to bind you.
And how do you know you have branch aluminum wiring? Like, I didn't know that was a scary word.
So the 4-point, so before you bind these older policies, these older homes, the 4-point inspection that you get will tell you what you have.
Okay.
And they'll be very specific there, saying this wiring is bad, not to code, unsatisfactory. And then carriers go, whoa, we're not going to insure this until you fix it.
Wow. And then when was that type of wiring? And what did you call it? Branch aluminum?
So any type of aluminum wiring, originally I say pre-1990s, you might find some.
Well, we don't have a whole lot of houses here with that. I mean, we maybe have, 3% of our houses were born?
No, you'll be surprised. I say about probably a good 15% of Palm Coast
15%?
is pre-1980.
No way. Where are you looking?
I have a lot of clients. Original F section, C section. The original outlays were, I think it was IDT. No.
ITT.
ITT came in. Mm-hmm. Those original guys from up north came in and flocked those homes. It was cheaper, more efficient back in the day for aluminum wiring.
Right.
The problem is it gets hot.
Right.
So now if you have a live wire going through your house and that thing trips or that thing gets extra, whatever.
Oh, yeah, because we're pulling so much electricity today compared to what we were doing in 1990. Well, I mean, we did not have these electronic devices in 1990. We maybe had a video game one.
Well, now it's basically so that wire gets hot. Now you have a risk in your wall for a fire hazard.
Right.
In the same aspect, like if it overloads, whatever the case is, it causes a fire. Now, the insurance company goes, well, we're not going to insure it if you have aluminum wiring because it is a fire hazard.
It's too high of a fire hazard.
Same thing with certain electrical boxes. If you have certain types, they'll say we're not going to insure it because it's a I don't want to say a bad word, but it's like it's not a good box. It's a box that has been proven to cause fires.
Okay. So again, they're fire risk. Well, anytime you run into that. So as let's say I'm buying a house and now I'm getting my insurance policy. Mm-hmm. So we need to get those in place before closing. So well before the closing. So we would find those things out pretty early on.
So you would find it on the full inspection, the good, the bad, the ugly is going to tell you exactly what's going with the house.
Okay.
Then if depending on the age of the house, I would hope the realtor or the, someone guiding them would say, look, you're going to need a 4-point, you're going to need a wind mitigation, brand new roof, house is older, let's save you some money, get the wind mit.
Yep.
But ultimately, the full inspection is going to tell you exactly what's up. And you don't really want to give the insurance carriers the full inspection.
No. So this is our insurance agent saying, do not turn over your home inspection to your insurance agent.
It's going to give them things that, stupid things. That, hey, there's a crack here. I mean, Karen might say, well, we're not going to insure it because it's a crack or it's not. Structure is not sound. It is.
Right.
But why even give them that thing? And that's why they have specific 4 points.
Right. And that's why they have the specific questions that they ask. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that that I learned also with helping people purchase homes through mortgages, that people would be like, here's my entire bank statement. Well, you're supposed to get for 4 months. But if they're asking additional questions, do not give the entire bank statement because that just prompts more questions and delays closings.
Very true.
So it's just interesting that you have to answer the questions that they ask and not overspeak or word vomit on them or paper vomit and give them too many things that they're not able to, that are going to cause them to have other questions that may stop you from getting insured.
I think the lesson in life is less is more. Majority of the time.
Yeah, I learned that in 2004. Less is more in 2004.
I agree.
I decluttered my house and my brain. So yes, it was a great year. But okay, so now your son plays baseball.
Yes, rock star.
So here you are. You come into the office. I mean, we have a quick meeting before this, and all you can talk about is your son and how excited you are about his baseball. So tell everybody a little bit about the joy of being a baseball dad.
I was a coach for Palm Coast Little League for many, many years. My son's coach primarily. And then great, fantastic league. He needed more growth. So we decided, hey, you know what? Let's go to travel ball. Let's try it. Went to Daytona. He's with part of the Storm 12U team. It's been a point where I've never been in the sidelines. So it's very weird, very keep your mouth shut because I'm not the coach anymore. So let these other guys coach him, which I think he's had a lot of growth. But they actually came back this weekend, won the gold bracket championship of the GOB.
Congratulations. So that's so awesome. That's great.
He rocked and rolled. He's doing fantastic. He plays first base, good hitter, he's consistent. But he's also my pitcher, hurt his arm a little bit. So a little sore subject, but he's doing better, physical therapy, that kind of stuff. So I'm hoping by next season, he'll be back to pitching again and just rocking out.
So I know that you're Portuguese, so everybody has to know, what soccer team are you voting for in Portugal?
Benfica.
So
Benfica, okay. It's funny. Half my family goes for Benfica, half goes for Sporting. I've always watched. My family's always watched Benfica.
And the third is Porto, and that's mine because I like blue. So it's interesting to see in the Portuguese families, it's usually one person likes one team and one likes another, just so that they can have that competition and enjoy the games together. And I've seen it. It's a lot of fun to watch Portuguese families.
They freak out.
And wives watch the games and just they get very, very into it. And
listen, they get it gets offensive sometimes. I mean, it's like, all right, it's gonna be okay, but it's fun. It's definitely fun.
It is. I know in America, all of our cities have our sports teams. And even though I grew up in Pittsburgh, like Steelers, that was the thing. I mean, they were winning every year when I was a little kid. I just thought if there was a Super Bowl, the Steelers were in it. And if they weren't, then it didn't count. Like it wasn't a real Super Bowl. But even so, as much as my American friends get involved with the sports, I just see the Portuguese go even 2 or 3 steps further.
Well, put it this way. So I was born with soccer. So soccer was a very big part of my growing up. And then I have my love for baseball. So my whole life I've been a baseball player. And that's why I loved it when my son really started loving baseball. I kind of got a chance to live through him again. But I'm from New York, love the Yankees, love the Mets. I love Tampa Bay Rays. The key players that I love, I become very, I guess, loyal to their teams they go to.
Okay.
So, for example, Aaron Judge left, I'd be loyal to his team. I mean, I'll be loyal to wherever he goes to. So, just a northerner in me, per se, is a baseball thing. But most of the time, it's soccer. But I'm the weird one in the family loves baseball.
Well, your son's doing great. So obviously there's good reason for you to love it. And I'm glad to hear that they won the championship. That's awesome. Okay. So one more question I have for you. Food. So we've been talking about foodies and we've got a lot of good things going on with that. But tell me about one of your favorite restaurants in town.
There's a few. I would say Palm Harbor Grill. Again, I'm Portuguese. They're right next to my office, so I go there a lot. My son loves the octopus there. Constantly getting it.
Polvo is the name. Yep. And there's only a couple places you can get that here in the Palm Coast area. But yeah, I've had it there. It's great. It's great.
So you have Azores Distributing, where we will buy the frozen octopus. I'll make for my son, but it's not the same like the restaurant.
Right.
Palm Harbor makes it great.
Well, it's the grill that they have. I mean, they're grilling it over there. But Azores is really good if you want any the salts that you're cooking any of your meats with. They have it there. They also have the olives. They have
everything traditionally Portuguese that you would need.
But there's a lot of things there as an American that you should go and check them out. They're great. They're right off of Utility Drive in the back by
you have Susanna and Senor Miguel. They're right in the back end. Yep. It's actually right past what's his name? Tony Admiral's place. Go past there, make a right next to, I want to say the Spanish.
It was
something.
I think they just sold that, and I think it's becoming something else. So, but yeah, it's near the Spanish American Club, or the I guess it would be Spanish American Club. I'm not sure.
I think so. And then we do a lot of
Hispanic. It was particularly named Hispanic American Club.
Correct.
Right. So I'm trying to figure out, why am I getting this wrong? Well, that does not feel right. Yes. Well, Eddie, I thank you so much for taking the time to come on down to the studio and be on the Kim Sunshine Show. Is there anything else that you'd like to say to the audience?
Listen, thanks for hearing my spiel. Any investment needs, insurance needs, we're a phone call away. Appreciate it.
And Eddie has a huge portfolio. If you've never got a chance to sit down with him or speak to him, he's really a smart guy. The trick is getting his time, because he's also a very busy guy.
True.
But you can come meet him if you join me or Eddie at BNI. We meet at BNI every Thursday morning. We only have the best of the best who are members of BNI. So I'm thankful that that's how we got to meet, and appreciate everything that you do for our BNI, because you're part of the leadership there. And we just appreciate that.
Thank you. I appreciate being there. I appreciate you guys listening as well.
Thanks. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Take care, guys.